What's up, everybody? It's me, your favorite little boy in the whole wide world, Ren with 2 N's. And it's no secret that I am a very tough audience. It is very difficult for a movie or video game to make me feel, to make me laugh, or to properly scare me. And I've played just about every notable horror game in existence. From Dead Space to Alone in the Dark to Dino Crisis and to SCP Containment Breach. I've been around, man, and let me tell ya, nothing in this world has frightened me more than the game I'm about to show you today. A little game called PT. PT was the type of game that I felt like I had to share with everybody. If I had a friend over, I would boot the game up, give him the controller, turn out the lights, and make him play it just to see his reaction. That way I got to relive the experience of PT through my friends over and over again. And I even filmed my friend Patrick playing it because his reactions to horror games have always filled me with such glee.
Tosh! Oh! Yeah?
You woke up Grandma.
And the best part about Patrick's reactions is that they were never manufactured scares like Markiplier's were. What you are seeing here is a man who is experiencing genuine fear. I mean, look at this guy's face. That right there is the look of true terror. Now, I forced my friends and family to play through PT because I loved sharing this game with people. PT delivers an experience that can't be found anywhere else. And that's why I'm making this video, because I want to share the experience of PT with you guys. And apparently it's also a hot thing to do this year. I thought I had a great original idea here, but everybody else beat me to it. Now, what can you do? Now, some of you may already know what PT is. It's the game that Konami notoriously removed from the PlayStation Store and is now no longer for anybody to download. The only way you can play PT today is to have downloaded it 4 years ago before it got removed from the PlayStation Store, meaning that PT is one of the most exclusive video games on the PlayStation market. And that's all I'm going to say for now, because I want to keep people who might not know about this game, or maybe they forgot about it, out of the loop, so that they can experience this game fresh as the video continues. Now, this game is, for lack of a better term, absolutely fucked up. The team that made this had a true grasp on what horror actually is, on what truly terrifies the human psyche. And at first, it might not look like much. At the beginning of the game, you get a front row seat to these 2 cockroaches having sex, as you wake up in this room with no windows, a flickering fluorescent light, and a door. Now, once you go through that door, you get to a hallway, and it all seems somewhat ordinary, but there's something about a super long corridor with no doorways that's just kind of unsettling. After you turn the corner, you have the option to listen to a news report on the radio. This is where things get a little weird.
The day of the crime, the father went to the trunk of his car, retrieved the rifle, and shot his wife as she was cleaning up the kitchen after lunch. When his 10-year-old son came to investigate the commotion, the father shot him too. The mother, who he shot in the stomach, was pregnant at the time.
After the radio transmission is over, you walk down these steps to what is presumably the garage door, open that baby up, only to discover that you are back in the same exact hallway, except now, things are different. This time, the door leading down into the garage is closed, so naturally you try to open it up, only to learn that it is, of course, locked. This is where one of the game's more subtle features kicks in, and it's a bit of a doozy. So if you're really close to something, and then you turn around quick enough, your vision is blurred for about half a second, while your character's vision has to adjust to the abrupt movement. And that might not sound like much, but it's actually kind of a genius feature, because it really messes with people's heads. Your brain just kind of expects something to pop up when the camera goes back into focus.
No.
So now that the door is locked, your only option is to go back the way you came. And once you approach the bathroom door, you hear someone bang on it, which honestly isn't really all that scary.
Oh, God, run!
Now, once you go back down the hallway far enough, the locked door just mysteriously opens. And once you go back down and walk through it again, you discover, once more, that you are still in the same exact hallway. This time, the only difference is that somebody is banging on that door again. But this time, it's much more persistent. But once you get close enough to the door, this happens. I guess it's the first real big scare of the game, and some people quit playing right then and there.
No. Hit X on that.
But trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. After that spook, you go down the stairs, open the door again, and begin a new cycle. Now in this cycle, everything looks normal, but when you go down into the garage, the door closes as you approach it, and the bathroom door cracks open behind you.
No! No, 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 no.
Now this is where things start getting properly spooky. That crying baby sound effect is a pretty big contributing factor to that.
So if
If you click the right thumbstick, you zoom in.
I don't want to zoom in on anything.
Now the next cycle is a doozy, because once you turn that corner, you are faced with an Amazonian woman, and the sound of her crying is, to this day, one of the most unsettling things I've ever heard.
No, no, no. I guess I gotta go.
Still gets that hair on the back of my neck prickling up. In the next cycle, the bathroom door opens up, and you're forced to go inside of it. You've got no other options.
I don't want to play it. No. Oh, no. I gotta look in the mirror. Ew, what the fuck is that thing?
Now, my first time through this part, I debated shutting the game off myself. There's nothing more terrifying than being stuck in a bathroom with a shrieking fetus as somebody is attempting to open up the door to get you. You're trapped in this small, terrifying room with no means of defense, and somebody wants you. It's genius. The next cycle is when things start to get pretty heavy. You hear the same radio transmission as you heard earlier in the game, except this time, things are a little bit different.
Before the others, look behind you. I said, look behind you.
Now, if you do as the transmission tells you to do and look behind you, well, I'll let Patrick show you what happens next.
Shot in the stomach. 20463.
Oh, Jesus. How do you feel?
Sick.
But what's going on here is this is actually the game's first puzzle. And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is look at this family photo and press the X button to gouge out the eye. After you do that, the door opens up, you walk through it, and begin the next cycle. Not a whole lot happens here, but you know what? I'll just let you experience that for yourself. So a lot of people don't know this, but if you look up right here to the balcony, you can actually see this ghost looking back down at you.
Hey, you like that? Something's walking at me. Fuck off!
In the next cycle, things calm down a bit, as there is now a fridge dripping with blood dangling from the ceiling, accompanied by some harsh red lighting, and the radio kicks back on again. Take a listen to this.
After killing his family, the father hung himself with a garden hose.
The father hung himself with an umbilical cord they had in the garage.
So there's something about that really freaks me out. The fact that the transmission repeats itself again, but from the opposite side of the room with a slight alteration, it's terrifying. Something about that is just so off-putting to me. And in the next cycle, things get even worse, as we can only assume that a young child is now stuck in this refrigerator and is desperately trying to escape. To progress here, you need to solve a puzzle. It's a pretty cryptic one too. You can see right here that there's an incomplete phrase on the wall. So what you gotta do is go near the phone and look at the writing up above it which says hello. Now each time you look at that word and then look away, it takes a letter off of this part of the wall and teleports it over near the incomplete phrase. So you just do that 4 times until you've spelled out the word hell, and now you can progress. The next cycle lets you take a much deserved breather. Everything is back, it's a little bit more relaxed, and all there really is just this random song on the radio playing with a demonic voice talking over it. After that though, in the next cycle, things are changed up quite a bit. All of the portraits now have animated eyes on them looking around the room, and on top of that, you move incredibly fast. This instant change in movement really puts you on edge, since at this point you have no idea what to expect. And now you're moving so quickly that for all you know, you're just gonna sprint into a jump scare.
Oh, fuck.
The only way to progress past this point is to find a hole in the wall that you need to look into, which then forces you to listen to a gruesome murder. And as great as it would have been to actually see the murder take place, I think that this right here showcases part of the game's genius. Since we're forced to listen to the murder, that means you involuntarily use your imagination to picture the girl's murder. And it's really a testament to the immaculate sound design.
Now's the time. Do it.
After you've listened to the murder, everything goes back to normal, and you're able to start up the next cycle. There is also an optional bit of dialogue here that you can listen to as well.
You got fired, so you drowned your sorrows in booze. She had to get a part-time job working a grocery store cash register. Only reason she could earn a wage at all is the manager liked how she looked in a skirt. You remember, right? Exactly 10 months back.
In the next cycle, the hallway seems to have gone back to its original state. But of course, as we've come to expect, something is a bit off. Because now, the screen just starts glitching out, and a demonic voice is repeating numbers to you. Then the game restarts itself, and I don't think this had anybody fooled for a second. We've seen video games do stuff like this before, but it definitely does put you on edge. Now, once the game boots back up, that means you are on the final cycle. In here, you get to see more of Lisa, and she is truly terrifying. Once she flies into you like that, after a set amount of time, she will kill you, and the anticipation of that really gets to me.
I'm just gonna go and then fuck. Oh shit. I just want it to happen once. If I turn quick, right? Oh, there it goes. All right.
Now after you die, once you're in this respawn room, you can take a look around, and you'll find a bloody plastic bag which also talks to you.
I walked. I could do nothing but walk.
So completing the final cycle and beating the game is an insanely convoluted process, but just bear with me. So the goal here is to get a baby to laugh 3 times. In order to do that, once you start the cycle, you need to sit there and wait for 1 entire minute. After that minute's up, the clock hits midnight and a bell will chime. At this point, what you need to do is walk exactly 10 steps and stop on the 10th step.
Okay, baby time.
Now, once you've done that, you need to plug a microphone into the PS4 controller so that you can actually physically talk to Lisa the ghost in the game. Once she spawns in, you need to say the name Jareth into the microphone, and it just makes you look like an absolute crazed idiot.
Jareth. Jared. Jaren. Jareth. Jared. Don't shit!
Back up!
Ah!
Back up!
After that, the 3rd step is simple. Your controller will start vibrating. So while the controller is vibrating, you need to stand completely still. Because if you move at all at this point, you need to restart the entire process. But once the vibration stops, the phone rings and you answer it.
You've been chosen.
Oh, baby.
Which then unlocks the door. Now you walk out, and you get this little cutscene of Norman Reedus just kind of walking around the town. And you are then informed that Hideo Kojima worked on this game, and that PT was a playable teaser for Silent Hills all along. And that's PT for you, folks. A demo for a game that we will never be able to play. I hope I was able to do it justice, because this game really made an impact on me. Like I said before, this game offers a one-of-a-kind experience, and I really just wanted to share the game with you guys. Plus, I love watching Patrick get scared. It is one of my favorite things in the world. But PT wasn't even a game. It was a demo for a game, a free download on the PlayStation Store. And it's something that you can beat within like 20 minutes. But hot damn, is it literally the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Avoid playing if you have a heart condition really kinda sums it all up. And there's a couple of things here I didn't really touch on either, like how this game actively messes with you. Sometimes when you reset a cycle, your flashlight is just a completely different color, with no explanation. It can be green, red, or yellow. And in your first playthrough, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the different colors might reveal different secrets, like a code or something, but nope. The color changes there, as far as I'm aware, specifically to mess with people, as it occurs randomly and does absolutely nothing. And you remember those numbers from earlier that the demonic voice was reading out before the game glitched out back to the main menu? It turns out that those numbers were just Hideo Kojima's birthday. And little things like that keep you on edge at all times. They make you second guess yourself, and they give you the feeling that you can't ever truly know what is actually going on, which all just adds to that sense of unease. The sound design is impeccable too. It's still one of the best out there. The way the little light buzzes as you walk past it in the hallway, the sound the swinging chandelier makes, creates this constant feeling of dread. And the way Lisa cries and moans still to this day gives me chills. She just sounds so unnatural. I don't think I've ever heard anything cry like that before. And she definitely does sound like a tortured spirit. And there are times when it feels like she's doing this right behind you, right in the back of your neck. It's truly haunting stuff. Even the voice acting is top notch. Everybody talks in this really strange cadence, to where it almost seems dreamlike. And Silent Hill is kind of infamous for intentionally weird voice acting, but the off-putting voice work really adds to this feeling like you're in some otherworldly place that you don't belong or understand. Because of the way PT messes with your psyche, years later, even though I know everything that is going to happen in this game, there are times when I'm still afraid to look directly at the screen, because for all I know, maybe this one time, something different will happen. Something might pop out at me. It constantly has me on my toes, even on my 10th playthrough. It truly banks on that fear of the unknown that we all naturally have. PT does everything so masterfully. It does horror so perfectly that after experiencing a game like this, something like Resident Evil 7 or Evil Within or Outlast is child's play. Nothing holds a candle to PT. It's one of the most creative and well-made pieces of horror of all time. And unless you were super cool and proactive like me, you can't even download it anymore. Now, I think it's a real shame that we never got Silent Hills, because if it were half as good as PT was, I think it would have gone down in history as the scariest game of all time. But there are countless other videos out there which speculate on what happened to Silent Hills, and what Silent Hills could have been. It's all very interesting stuff. I'd recommend that you go check some of it out. I'll pop a link down in the description to some good ones. But this was just meant to be a quick, fun little video for you guys, while I work on something bigger. So let me know how you guys like this down in the comments, and if I should do a little bit more stuff like this in the future. Anyway, that's all I got for this video, folks. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.